All right, now in this example, we're presented with -10 blank -8, and they're asking us to fill in one of these symbols so that this will be a true statement. So in order to use these symbols, we have to understand how to read them in general. So I'm just going to give a couple little examples before we look at this one right here. Now, the thing about these is that you can read it left to right or right to left. So for example, in English, I could say 2 is less than 5. Or I could say that 5 is greater than 2. I'm using different words and I'm putting the numbers in different order, but what I'm saying is still the same thing. 2 is less than 5 is the same thing as saying that 5 is greater than 2. And so depending on which direction we're reading it, we can use either one of these symbols, and that's very important. So if I put the 2 first and then the 5, that would be read as 2 is less than 5. And there's lots of little tricks people use to remember this. For me, the simplest one is whatever the arrow points at is smaller. So 2 is supposed to be smaller than 5, so you're smaller, so 2 is less than 5. I could read this right to left. I don't have to rewrite it. I could just choose to read it this direction. 5 is greater than 2. Or I could rewrite it. I could put the 5 and then the 2, and then in this case I would say 2 is less than 5. 2 is less than 5. Notice I'm reading it right to left. If I do that, I could read it this way. 5 is greater than 2. So you can read this left to right or right to left, and that trips people up a lot. So just remember whatever it points at is smaller. So -10 is what than -8? Well, this might confuse you as well because there's negative numbers. So if these were positive, of course, so these negatives weren't here, 8 would be smaller than 10. But let's look at the number line right quick. Here's 0, and I could go this way and get 1 and 2, etc. But really, we care about negative numbers, so I'm going to go -1, -2, -3, -4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's -8. 9, 10. There's -10. Okay, so remember, on the number line, the furthest thing to the left is the smallest thing. So because we're talking about negative numbers, -10 is less than -8. Okay? Well, -10 is less. I need to point to the smaller thing. So the symbol I need to use is this one. -10 is less than -8. So this problem had two things to keep in mind. One, how do you use these symbols? It points to the smaller thing. And second, when you're talking about negative numbers, the more negative you are, the smaller you actually are. And that is this example.